Books, books. I like books. I'm gonna read them all.
Hi readers, Chris here. Welcome to my channel where I review fantasy, Stephen King, all sorts of books, and today I'm going to be talking about Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson. This is the second book in the Stormlight Archive, and this is only the fifth Sanderson book I've read. I read the original Mistborn trilogy, and then I read The Way of Kings, so I'm still fairly new to Sanderson, but this book has made me a fan, and I'm going to tell you why. First off, this is a 1,000+ page tome, so there's a lot to talk about here. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to keep it very high level, spoiler free. I really want to talk about spoilers though, so if you've read this one and you want a spoiler video or you want to talk spoilers, definitely let me know in the comments section below. So if you know nothing about this series, it's going to be really hard to explain in 60 seconds or less, but let's just say that there is this war that's going on in this world, and it's been going on for a very long time because there's this group of people, the Parshendi, who killed the king of the other kingdom over here. And this happened in a past, and ever since, these two kingdoms have been at war with each other. And this war has been going on and on and on, and nothing ever changes, nothing ever happens, yada, yada, yada. Now, add on top of that, there is magic in this world, and the magic in this world comes from Stormlight. And yes, the light of a storm, so think lightning, and yes, I know that's a simplified way of talking about it, but Stormlight, that's what it is. So, and only certain people can channel this Stormlight. There's also all of these legends and fables that there used to be this, group of powerful warriors called the Knights Radiant, but they were destroyed many aeons ago. But there is basically rumblings and I don't want to call it a prophecy because there's not a prophecy, but it's starting to seem like the Knights Radiant may be coming back. So that's really all I'm going to say about the overall plot, which if you've read the book, you'll know that's not a lot, but again, it's really hard to talk about because there's just so much in here. And again, this is the second book, and the first one was also 1,000 pages. So let's jump in and just talk about the world building of this world. The world building of this world is some of the most epic, well thought out, extreme world building I've ever read in any sort of fantasy. If you are someone that likes epic fantasy, high fantasy, that super big world building where there's history and there's context and there's all that stuff, you're definitely going to get it from this series, and specifically from this book in particular. I thought that the world building in the first book was good, but I didn't understand where it was all going. Having a much better understanding of the world building, plot, and characters really added to my enjoyment of this one because I already knew them. So the world building here is just massive. There is so much going on. There are so many different kingdoms. There's so many different, clans of people. There's so many different families. There's so many different politics and, royal families and their slaves, and there is just so much, and I loved every single second of it. Now, it's hard to say what I like better, the world building or the characters, because the characters in this book, in this series, are absolutely phenomenal. There's basically kind of 3 main-ish characters, but then there's loads and loads and loads of side characters and all this stuff. So we have 3 main characters, Kaladin, Shallan, and Dalinar. Now, they're the same 3 characters that were in the first book. However, in the first book, I didn't know them yet. The whole first book, I was getting to know these characters. But because I already know them now, their journeys in this book are absolutely fantastic because every single character has a journey. Every single one has their own unique story arc. And not only are they like physical journeys, like Shallan in particular has a very physical journey like across the world, but they also have like emotional and mental journeys as well. Kaladin in particular has one of the most like mental and emotional journeys that like I've ever seen in a book ever. Like, without going into specifics, Kaladin really has to like accept a lot of things in order to be the person that he's meant to be. And that means he has to wrestle with these really deep moral quandaries. And it's just fascinating to see him go through that. Because in the beginning of the book, he's like so set in his ways and he's so sure that he's right and he's so, dedicated to his convictions. And to see him change over the course of these 1,000 pages is just, wow. It's really great stuff. It is really good stuff to read. And can I just also say that I think Kaladin in particular has one of the most exciting battles that like I've ever read. And it's one of the cases where he finds himself in like in a duel basically with another character, and it was like one of the most exciting like sword fighting scenes I've ever read. I was literally like on the edge of my seat or on the edge of my bed where I was reading this, like eyes wide, like gasping, oh my god, like it was just so good. Which brings me to the plot. The entire plot of this book is like, it's so good. It's just nonstop. It is nonstop from the very first page all the way to the end. Again, I found the first book, as much I did like it, but I did find it a bit slow because I had no idea where the story was going. I couldn't see what the goal was. But going into this one, I knew exactly what the goals were. And I feel like that really helped because you kind of know where the story is going now in this book, and watching it unfold was just so exciting. There are so many scenes in this book with every single character individually that are just exciting to read. There's action, there's adventure, there's even a romance in this book, which at first I was kind of like, I don't know how I feel about that. But by the end, I absolutely loved it. And there's even a little bit of humor in here as well. Especially, I want to say, Shallan and Kaladin's character in particular, they have some great banter. Like, I love them together. If you can't tell, I cannot say enough good things about this book. Because here's the thing, sequels are really hard. Like, sequels are difficult. I've read a lot of sequels that, like, are just not as good as the first one. But this is one of the few rare cases where I think that the sequel is actually better than the first book. So yes, I love Words of Radiance. I love it way more than The Way of Kings. I think the world building is better. I think the character development is superior. And I found the plot way more exciting and more interesting. Again, that's just me. So I would love to know from you, have you read this series? Did you love Words of Radiance as much as I did? Did you love it more than Way of Kings? Why or why not? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments section below. And as always, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not already, please subscribe to my channel for more bookish stuff coming your way soon. All right, everyone, happy reading.